James Woods gave baseball one of those moments that reminds you why this sport is chaos in the best way possible.
I'm looking to the bullpen to bring my lefty in. Keep the lead and make your team look pedestrian. It's in your wheelhouse, we'll swing for the fence. You know it's money around here, and I ain't talking expense. Strike one, heat low in the way, you can't hit it. You know you wanna start a rally, but you better forget it. Strike two, off speed, same spot, your car looking. Get ready at the plate, this time you're not cooking. Strike three, swinging out of the zone. You ain't even touch it first. Tell me how they gonna drive you home. Walk it back, looking like we ain't cool then. The game's over, might as well put them back to the bullpen, oh yeah.
That's right, and we are bringing it back to the bullpen. I am Brett Chansy. He is Mike Stanton. 2 decades on the mic. We bring you big league experience with local expert analysis. This is Back to the Bullpen, brought to you by the Locked On Network, the #1 sports podcasting network. Mike, let's get started with a fun topic.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's start off a little lighthearted. And things that we don't see in Major League Baseball. Now you see it, you go to the local Little League field, you may see this all the time, but you do not see this in Major League Baseball very often.
That's right. And you know, this isn't a video game. This isn't Little League. This is Major League Baseball. And look, somehow it looks completely believable because why James Woods is basically – he's one of these guys that is a creative player. Like on these video games, like on MLB The Show and stuff like that, you can create a player to have whatever abilities. And, you know, that's why you name yourself the player, because you get to live your dreams vicariously through this video game.
Right.
But, Mike, most guys that hit the ball 110 plus miles an hour don't move the way James Woods does. James Wood is a very good young major league player, and the Nationals are definitely reaping the benefits.
Yeah, and this is one of the reasons why, you know, teams go into a rebuild mode is so they can get players with the talent of guys like Woods. And it's you know, the Nationals are a team that is one of the surprising teams in Major League Baseball. They're one of the better offenses, and you know, James Wood is one of the reasons why.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they're just sitting at 1 game under 500. They are in the AL East. I mean, they are 10 games out, but this is a team that if they continue to do things the right way offensively and guys like James Wood steps up, they can definitely make some noise in the National League. But what's crazy is this was a Little League Grand Slam is what I'm calling it. The bases were juiced. I mean, you hear in the park home runs all the time, right? The guy hits it to the outfield. The outfielder dives for it. He misses the ball. But the bases were juiced when this happened.
Yeah. And the interesting thing about this is James actually did not bust it right out of the box. He thought it was a home run. So he was kind of jogging down the first base line. Then he saw that it wasn't a home run, and then he kicked in the afterburners. It took him just a little over 15 seconds. Now, that sounds pretty fast for rounding the bases, but you have to think about that. When you talk about Major League Baseball and defense, 15 seconds sounds like a freaking eternity.
Yeah.
But it usually takes something a little bit crazy for that to happen, and that's really what happened. The ball caromed off the outfielder's glove, and that was it. We were off to the races. He wasn't being backed up the way he should have been, and he rounded the bases at, like I said, 15 seconds, got 4 RBIs, and did not hit the ball out of the ballpark. I think this is the first inside the park home run since I want to say 2022. So It's not something, I mean, it's not, you know, so rare we never see it. It's not like a one in a lifetime thing, but it's something that we sure don't see every single year.
No, definitely. And I love him diving in and them trying to make the throw. I mean, because you've seen amazing throws from the outfield, you know, guys like Ken Griffey Jr. or even Bo Jackson. There's an insane throw. Sure. I remember from Bo Jackson where he gunned down a guy at third base. It looked like, why is he throwing the ball? And all of a sudden the ball's there in milliseconds. And, you know, James Wood, when he was rounding the bases, in Atlanta, they have a guy who plays the Frozone character from The Incredibles.
Yeah.
And he races a fan. And they always give the fan a head start. Well, James Wood running around those bases reminded me of these fans that are just frantically trying to get around the base. So you love moments like this. It's fun. I think
they call him, is it Mr. Freeze?
Mr. Freeze or Frozone or something like that. Yeah. They call him something, Mr. Freeze
and if people haven't seen it, you can YouTube it. It's pretty funny. Actually, here in Houston, our Julia Morales actually raced him because Julia is a big time runner. Years ago, she actually raced him. Now Freeze got her. But I mean, I think he's a former like a NCAA D1 track star or something like that. But what he does is he gives the runners that he's racing against, he gives them a big lead, and then he has to just track them down. They're going around the outfield warning track. That's their actually track. So it's one side of the field to the other side of the field, and I think he's been beaten only once or twice.
Yeah, he has. There's been a couple guys that have been in the lead and they'll stumble and wipe out at the end.
Face plant right at the trying to beat him across the line. I did misspeak. This was not a ricochet off of a glove. This was a ricochet off of the wall. There was some outfield confusion, but James so fast that he was able to, even though he didn't bust it out of the box, he was still able to get around the bases and get this, what we're calling a little league grand slam.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. I love that. I feel like stories like that definitely deserve to be highlighted, even though this is back to the bullpen. It's not all about pitching. You got to have offense. I know you pitchers think that it's all about you.
I mean, this was a first pitch swing. McLean threw him a little sweeper that spent too much time on the plate. So, he did a nice job of barreling up the ball and hit it extremely hard at 110 miles an hour. But then all of a sudden he was off to the races.
That's right. So from that to our next topic, Jose Berrios with the Toronto Blue Jays. He's going to be out for the year. He is going to be having surgery. This is a guy that is a Cy Young hopeful any year that he is healthy, anytime he's out there dealing. He's made 30 plus starts every year since joining Toronto.
Yes, for the last several years. Mm-hmm.
And, he's not always ultra like dominant, but he's there.
He's one of the guys. Yeah, he's one of the guys that's a little frustrating in Major League Baseball because he's got tremendous stuff. He throws the ball hard. He's not 100-mile-an-hour arm, but the ball is moving, has serious arm side run. Then he's got a good sweeping breaking ball. Sometimes he has a real problem with controlling those. There's been times he has been dominant, but what he has been is he's been dependable. He's been able to go out there. He's been able to take the ball and give you starts and give you innings. But he's going to miss this whole 2026 season. He had Tommy John, I think, just a couple days ago. And so that's going to be it for the next, 12 to 14 months.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And what worries us the most about this whole thing, or what worried, I think, the Blue Jays before this happened is drop in velocity. And you and I have talked about that. When you have a drop in velocity, that is not a good thing.
Yeah, well, there's a reason. I mean, you don't just drop in velocity for no reason. And where the drop in velocity is he was actually making minor league starts, and he made a couple. But in his last start, that's where the lack of velocity came in. They put him back in the tube, in the MRI tube, did some more imaging and testing, and then they found out that and this was a full Tommy John. This wasn't a partial. This isn't one of those other things. So this was a full UCL replacement. And the people need to understand that and chances are he's going to come back and he's going to be healthy, because they've just gotten that good at it. They being the medical field that covers Major League Baseball. They've just gotten that good at Tommy John because they do so many of them. But it's not just, they don't just put in a new ligament. They double it, they wrap it. I mean, it's pretty incredible to hear the stories of how they do this. It's not just a matter of just, putting in another, soft tissue ligament,
right,
and going at it.
Yeah, definitely. When we come back in our next segment, we're going to talk about the pitch clock. Now, is the pitch clock allowing more steals? We'll hit that next.
Hey, it's Mike and John from Locked On Angels. We wanted to talk to you about something that's important, and that's your family.
I've been married a few years now, and my wife and I have a 1-year-old, and we're always thinking about his future. Who's he going to become? How can we help? And what ways can we make sure his future is secure?
Yeah, I'm in a different season. I'm married. I have 3 young adult kids, and lately I've been thinking a lot about how to make sure my family's taken care of in the long term.
This is why life insurance matters, not because it solves everything, but because it helps provide financial security for the people you love the most.
And that's where Ethos comes in. Ethos makes getting life insurance fast and easy, 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and even get same-day coverage, and there's no medical exam. You just answer a few simple health questions online, and you can get up to $3 million in coverage. Some policies are as low as $30 a month.
So take 10 minutes to get covered today with life insurance through Ethos. Get your free quote at ethos.com/lockedonmlb. That's ethos.com/lockedonmlb.
Get up to $3 million in coverage in as little as 10 minutes at ethos.com/lockedonmlb. Application times may vary. Rates may vary.
Workplace chaos, deadlines stacking up, and an inbox overflowing, and the one position you have to fill that's still sitting open when the pressure's on and you need the right hire. This is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. Indeed Sponsored Jobs helps you reach the people who actually fit what you're looking for: skills, experience, and location. So you're not just hoping the right candidate stumbles across your post. And here's a stat that says it all. In a minute that I've been talking to you, companies like yours have made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching and more time interviewing candidates. You check all your boxes with Indeed Sponsored Jobs. Now, listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? This is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. Make sure you hop on over to the Everydayers Club, lockedonpodcast.com/everydayer. You'll get ad-free episodes of our show, and you can join the members-only Discord with myself and several around the country.
Welcome back to the Bullpen, presented by the Locked On Network. So now what we're going to do is we're going to talk about a rule change that happened a few years ago, and exactly what has that done to Major League Baseball and the idea of the stolen base.
Yeah, the stolen base, you and I were talking before the show started about how they used to be a lot more plentiful. It used to be more of a runner's game. Sure. Ricky Henderson, Vince Coleman, Lou Brock. I mean, there are just so many legends out there, and there's so many guys, Tim Raines, guys that I can't even recount all the speedsters out there, but sure. Hundreds of bases were stolen.
Oh yeah.
And that's not the case. Well, Major League Baseball, what have they done? You and I have talked about this.
Yeah. Well, let's go from, what you're talking about the 70s and 80s,
right?
When all the stolen bases, maybe even earlier than that, stolen bases were very prevalent, trying to get into scoring position, trying to take put more pressure on the defense. And then the analytics started, and the analytics showed apparently that extra 90 feet wasn't as important as the out that you might get thrown out. And that's why we saw the stolen base go away. Is because the analytics, the data said that unless you're stealing at like an 80 to 85% rate, then it's just not worth it, that you get thrown out too many times and you're ending innings. So it's one of those things that is going to that it just went away, and then all of a sudden everybody's trying to hit home runs, and now you can understand why guys weren't running. It's kind of the Earl Weaver approach to offense, which was play for the 3-run homer.
Exactly. Small ball, bunt, get the runner over. But pitchers.
All right, here we go. I'll count us down.
All right. Pitchers used to control the running game by holding runners on, varying their timing, making guys uncomfortable. Well, now the clock, Mike, forces pitchers into patterns. Runners can time deliveries, they can study tendencies, and they can get aggressive once the clock starts ticking down. Also, now pitchers only have 2 moves now, especially in the even more updated rules. So you've got guys that are a lot more running free, and the base is a little bit shorter distance. That kind of helps.
A couple inches, that helps a little bit. But, I think so. The question is, I think both of those situations, the clock and the number of moves you can make to first base, those are, they're both as important as each other. I actually think that the pitch clock, I don't think that's the main reason. I think that's a secondary reason. I think the main reason is how many times I can pick off, because I used to pick off 3 times in a row all the time. And the third time I would get a guy every once in a while. But now if I do that and I don't pick him off, he gets second base. And so now you have to, it's just so, it's done exactly what Major League Baseball wanted it to do, which is try to create more offense. This whole idea, they felt like, the batting average for Major League Baseball has plummeted. Right now it's a little bit over 240. If you go back, 30 years ago, it was 260, 270. So there's just not as much offense. The whole idea of the 3 true outcomes, which is a home run, a walk, or a strikeout. That's what you see in offense now. And I hate that Major League Baseball did this. They just falsely created more offense, or tried to. And we are seeing a big uptick. Now we're not seeing the guys like Ricky Henderson that are stealing, 70, 80, 90 bags every year. Even though we did have Ronald Acuña Jr. go, 40-70 a couple years ago?
Right.
You're not seeing that. What you're seeing is a whole bunch more guys, more players that are having that 10, 20, 30 stolen base. And it's not just guys that can fly that are doing it.
Yeah, that's the thing. When you think stealing bases, you think automatically guys like Ellie De La Cruz, Ronald Acuña Jr. I mean, you're seeing guys like Cal Riley. You're seeing guys like
big dudes.
Every once in a while. I mean, Yordan Alvarez doesn't, but they're guys like his build. That's the kind of build I think of a player that
Aaron Judge steals bags.
And he's not a base stealer. He's not the. Can you imagine seeing this guy come at you like that? I just
same thing. Freddie Freeman, big dude.
Right.
Now he doesn't steal a lot. He's kind of stealthy about it, which it's what you're trying to do. So he picks his times, but with the limitations that the pitchers have, and if you got a pitcher that has a tendency that doesn't break up the time of the pitch clock, now all of a sudden you can start timing him, and that's exactly you talk to the base runners way back when. They started, when was it? I think it was in the 80s, sometime in one of the years of the 80s, that they decided that, we were going to start calling more balks when pitchers didn't come set. They would come down and they would just bounce their hands, and then they would go into their throwing motion. Well, Ricky Henderson, Vince Coleman loved that stuff because I can time it. So I'm getting a running start. As you bounce your hands, I'm gone. Now you have to come set. And then one of the ways we combated that was you would come set and you would hold for a second. You hold for 2 seconds, hold for 3 seconds, then go back to it. So now all of a sudden they can't time you and they don't get as good a jump, which means they're not safe as much at second base.
So get this, Steve Carlton had 90 balks during his entire major league career. Now there was a guy, and I'll give you a hint. There was a pitcher for the Oakland Athletics in the late 80s that
Late
held
80s.
the record for 16 balks in one season.
Oh, gosh.
Starting pitcher for Oakland in the late 80s.
Dave Stewart?
And you know what? Dave Stewart. Very good. Very
Really?
good.
I've guessed it. That
Stewart,
was really the only guy I could think of.
Yeah. And Mike did not know that I was going to test his baseball knowledge
no, he did not.
on the show.
No, he did not.
Good job. Way to go.
Well, I knew it had to be a guy that was out there a lot. So.
Right. So there you go. Well, in our next segment, we're gonna talk about Gerrit Cole again and why this is important to the Yankees to have him back competing once again. ED is way more common than most guys think. Millions of guys deal with it at some point, and that's exactly why HIMSS offers straightforward way to handle it. HIMSS connects you with the licensed healthcare professional provider online, giving you access to legitimate ED treatment options from the comfort of your own home. No awkward appointments, no pharmacy lines, just a straightforward process that makes it easier to take care of yourself. The whole process is simple. You just complete a quick online intake and a provider reviews your information. If treatment is right for you, it ships directly to your door in discreet packaging, which makes the whole experience feel private and stress-free. They also offer options like Slindafol, the generic form of Viagra, at a fraction of the cost, plus other treatments, so you can find what works best for you. It's straightforward, transparent, and designed to make getting care feel easy. To get simple online access to personalized, affordable care for ED, hair loss, and more, visit hims.com/lockedonmlb. That's hims.com/lockedonmlb. hims.com/lockedonmlb. Free to visit today. Trading, combos, peer-to-peer market. Does this sound like something that you're interested in? Well, let me tell you, baseball season is here. Now you can trade every game on Kalshi. On Kalshi, you can trade every single game. Look, if you're looking at the Yankees versus the Rays matchup, the Yankees are trading at 59%. If you put $100 down on that, that is a $164 return. If you put $100 on Tampa Bay, who is trading at 59%, and put $100 on that, you would get a $228 payout. That's right. It is that simple to win. Now, on Kalshi, you're trading against peers in a live market, meaning there's no house. And as probability changes, you can buy in or out of your position. For a limited time, download Kalshi app and use the code LOCKEDON. That's KALSHI. Trade on anything, 18 and up only. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. Event contract trading involves risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Prices, values, and available markets may differ from those mentioned. For more information, see kalshi.com/regulatory.
All right. Welcome back to the Bullpen, presented by the Locked On Network. So this evening, tonight, there is a really, really big, it's a lot of excitement going on in New York. That's because the 2023 American League Cy Young Award winner is going to be taking the mound for the first time since World Series 24. That would be Gerrit Cole for the New York Yankees.
Right. You know, I mean, having him back is huge. We had talked about Carlos Rodon coming back. He wasn't great in his first start back, but look, I mean, anytime you're coming off the IL, when you're pitching, you do have to kind of just get the plane off the tarmac.
Sure.
But Gerrit Cole has had several outings where he's done rehab stints, and he looks like he's done good. You know, as a point of roster moves, the Yankees optioned Elmer Rodriguez.
Mm-hmm.
And so now that spot is opened up for him to take that. But Cole feels ready physically. The rehab progression checked enough boxes. And, you know, they need him now.
Sure.
I talked with guys like Jose Urquidy, Yordan Alvarez, Justin Verlander with the Astros after rehab stints in, you know, after coming off of the field in rehab stints, and every one of those guys, whether it was pitchers or hitters, it's all about how I feel tomorrow.
Sure.
Now, more of that focus is on the pitchers because it's about recovery. It's about, just how much your arm is fatigued, then even the day after that. So checking on the boxes will still happen after this first start out.
Well, he's coming back from Tommy John, so he's coming back from a major surgery. Now, he has had, and being Gerrit Cole, he has had 6 rehab starts. In his last start, he went 5 1/3 through 86 pitches. Velocity was up where you expect it to be for Gerrit Cole. So everything seems to be okay. He's pitched 29 innings in those 6 starts. So it's not like he's just going one inning
Exactly.
at a time. He did that at the beginning, but now he's actually been extended. And so, why not get him in there? And, it shows you how important this series is that they actually cut it. He was supposed to have one more minor league rehab start. They cut that short. I think it's fine. 29 innings is plenty long enough for him to get ready to pitch in the big leagues. But one of the main reasons they're doing it is because they're playing Tampa Bay Rays tonight, who actually is leading the American League East by 3 games. So, they're the team that they are chasing. And, even if he doesn't pitch lights out, they lost Max Fried last week. Not sure how long he's going to be out, but, what you got Carlos Rodon back. Like you said, he didn't pitch well, but that's okay. There's still a psychological boost when you get that. And now you get your ace back also. I mean, now you see, even like I said, even if they don't pitch well, the team is like, okay, you know what? Now we're getting whole. The pitching staff, these guys are going to get right here very soon. And now we can get on a run and get back to first place.
Right. And it's never easy in Major League Baseball because opposing him on the mound tonight is Nick Martinez of the Rays, who's 4-1 with a 1.51 ERA
Right.
and a 1.04 whip. So, but the thing is, knowing Gerrit Cole, watching him get traded from the Pirates to the Astros, watching him perform the way he did. I mean, I saw him in person strike out 15 Rays in a playoff game. To just seeing who he is over his career. This is a guy that's a veteran. This is a guy that's going to come in prepared. He's going to come in with the game plan, and he's obviously not going to take any team lightly, but he's going to know what's at hand. You just hope the bats of, Aaron Judge and company show up, because in their most recent game, they lost 2-0 to the lowly Blue Jays.
Yeah. Yeah, and they have not been playing well as of late. They were in first place. They had an abysmal road trip. I think they went 2-7 in a 9-game road trip, and they were in first place when they went on the road. When they came off, they were not in first place because the Rays had continued to put pressure on them, and the Rays actually have a 3-game lead as we speak right this moment. So it's been interesting to see how this team has adjusted to not having these guys. I mean, you gotta remember, these guys weren't there at the beginning of the season when they were playing so well. Now, Max Fried was, and he was shoving, but the offense was kicking. And listen, everybody goes through their ebbs and flows, but this can be a big boost. Even, he goes out there and gives you 5 innings, gives up 3 runs, they end up losing. There's still the long-term psychological effect of getting your dudes back where they're supposed to be, and having Gerrit Cole at the top of your lineup can be nothing but a positive for the Yankees.
Right. And actually, going into the game tonight, I just looked at the updated standings. It's actually a 4.5 game deficit by the Yankees to
is it
Rays.
Really?
Yeah, it is. It is 4.5 because the Rays.
I should have been looking at that before.
No, it's okay. Well, and I believe that's with their most recent loss to the Blue Jays last night. So the Yankees have lost 2 in a row. The Rays have won 4 in a row. And look, the Rays may be on a heater, but I think what the Rays have going in Tampa is something that seems like it's sustainable, Mike. Like, I don't think they're just on a hot streak. I think they're a legitimate contender at this point. You don't have any other way to look at it.
Well, they can pitch. And Tampa is one of those teams that has always done it a little bit differently. And just recently, I actually went to the Locked On Rays podcast, and we talked about that quite a bit, about how, they do it without superstars. They do it without, they bring guys up that maybe have good stuff, but they figure out how to get these guys at their best. And when you can pitch, you can win. Do they? Yeah. The crazy thing is, they are a good offense. They can score runs, but they absolutely do not do it with home runs. They're the exact opposite of the Yankees. The Yankees hit blast home runs. The Tampa Bay Rays do not. They're among the cellar dwellers as far as home runs are concerned. And so it's just a different creature. They're a different type team. And with their ability to put the ball in play, that is not something that all major league teams do. So they actually do it differently, and I think they excel at it.
Now, for the Yankees, it's good that they're playing in the Bronx, because the Rays, remember a few shows ago, we talked about the shirtless guys in St. Louis, and it's called the Tarps Off fans. Okay. Well, they do that now in the Trop. The Trop is revamped. I don't know if you've seen it lately. If y'all haven't watched highlights of the Rays game, you haven't been watching their games, their home games, they have given new life to that stadium after it was ravaged by the hurricane, by the storms. And I mean, they restored that stadium. They've restored, I think, a renewed hope in that town. And so they're having fun playing in the Trop. They're not going to be playing in there much longer, because in a few years, they've got a brand new, really nice stadium that they're going to start building.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that works out. They've been talking about a new stadium in Tampa for decades. So we'll just have to see if that really.
Well, it says they approved a non-binding deal for a new ballpark proposal. So they're close.
So there you go. Well, like I said, until they have an opening day in the ballpark, I'm not going to believe it, because that has been a nightmare for this team, trying to get funding, either state funding or private funding or whoever it is. They have not been able to get it done. The only team that it's been a bigger disaster, that would be the formerly known as Oakland Athletics. They had to move to get a new stadium. So it's teams in the same type situation, both playing very well, but two very different styles of baseball. So it's going to be fascinating to see how this tournament, this series turns out.
It will be. Yeah, it's been a great show. We went from a Little League Grand Slam to the Yankees to, are they going to build a stadium in Tampa? Right. You can't get this coverage of Major League Baseball anywhere else. For myself, for Mike Stanton, and everybody here back to the Bullpen, thank you all for tuning in to our show. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, and share with your friends. Like I say, go to a ballpark and watch a game, and let's play ball.
Adios.